My name is Tim Ryan. Welcome to the Tim and Jenn Show. This is my friend, my amazing wife, my better half, and my co-host.
Hi, I'm Gimenez. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are in Florida. I got a tan going on right now, and
Working on the tan.
Yeah, and so I'm wearing this shirt. There is a shirt underneath there. Just thought I'd say something because you did say I had tatas going on. But it's my Masoni.
You have
top
tatas going on?
Yeah, I got a little.
You have
going
boobs.
on.
That's
Yeah.
a good thing.
And it's like my little Masoni, Viva Italia kind of look I have going on. It's a new Jew.
Okay.
But I'm really excited about it.
You look amazing.
Thank you. I feel
look better than you did than when you woke up this morning.
Wow, thank you. So
I had shit in your
I was
eyes.
going to say, I don't look good without makeup. No, I'm just kidding. Glad to be here. Kind of a lot going on in the last week for us.
What's happened to you?
Well, I guess I'll start with this. I mean, I don't want to make it a Debbie Downer show, but this is life. My stepmom passed away suddenly. Well, she was really sick, actually, but I didn't know she was going to go so quick at this stage.
Went to the hospice and was passed away 4 days later.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of compartmentalizing right now, and I say this because we have Mackenzie with us, our 5.5-year-old, Tim's daughter, with us, and so my stepdaughter, and we're running around, and I just don't want to be breaking down in front of her. Although I'm allowed to say to a little girl or boy, I'm a little down right now, so then they don't get freaked out. But my heart hurts. A lot of stuff is coming up for me on this.
Yeah, well,
at the same time, though, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'll let you finish after. At the same time, we're at the beach with Mackenzie, and my inner child is out and is running around with her and having the best time.
Yeah, I haven't heard you laugh that much.
Just hope that Mackenzie could feel the way I do about Rita. I hope I'm that example.
You are.
Because Rita was a great example of my stepmom.
Mackenzie adores you, and I'm sorry for the passing of Rita. One thing we're talking about, whether we had Mackenzie at the beach or we went to the park earlier, she just runs up to other kids. They're playing, they're talking, they're interacting. And I was actually talking to one of our former guests, Wes Hurd of Clean Cause, about an hour ago. And he said, why can't people live every day like it's Christmas Eve, where they're kind to each other, where they're opening the doors, where they're saying hi? Kids do it all the time, but most people don't.
So it's interesting you say that. I actually had to do that as part of my recovery process. At some point, I always feel like we got into kind of different layers of not just the 12 steps in the program, but more therapeutic things for me, in an unedited world for 3 weeks, I want you to say whatever comes up, my sponsor would say. And I'd be like, okay. So I'd be like, I don't like that. Whatever was coming up, I wouldn't edit anything. And it was amazing. But also I had to, I had to live, I was going to die. It was my last day on earth. That day, how would I treat everyone? And another one I had to do for 6 months was if I was walking into an ICU children's ward, how would I treat each individual that I saw? And that it was important that I saw people in my life, my family, my friends, like that. So then I treated them, because we're all spiritually somehow, we're all going through something, right? At all days of our lives, we're going through a thing. So we should treat each other with more love.
People don't. That's a problem. Society today, with the presidency, with COVID, with everything else, is so jointed. It's absolutely disgusting, but I don't care about that right now. What I care about is the next individual that's coming onto the Tim&Jenn show.
So I feel like I have a lot of things I'm going to relate to with him, but I will let you introduce him.
So first off, our guest hails from the great state of Illinois, Decatur, Illinois. The only reason I know Decatur, it was 3 hours north of Crystal Lake where I grew up, and then Naperville, but they had Pitt's water skiing site, PITS. But anyhow, this gentleman is a 3-time UFC veteran, 2-time MMA champion, black belt in the world, black belt in the world in Miletich Fighting Systems. We'll get to it. 2-time ZST Champion Veteran. Japanese, I don't know. He's just a fucking badass. I don't give a shit about all this. Founder of Bare Knuckles MMA Productions, recently featured in a film called After the Cage. This is after MMA fighters are now out of the ring. Let's just get to it. He can talk about all his shit because he's got a ton of it behind him. Jason Reinhardt, welcome to the show, my brother.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. And Jen, I'm sorry about your stepmother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jason, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm a lot better, you know, getting better every day.
So look, I'm looking for the people that aren't watching. Jason is obviously in his home office. There's martial arts posters all over. There's championship belts all over. There's trophies. I mean,
if you're just listening and watching, you could down the Lux Media TV.
Yeah, go to Lux Media TV
and see all these like awards behind you. Like, first of all, I was looking at photos of you tonight, and I was researching you as well the last couple of days. But I was like, oh my god, like he does this. Like, you are a crazy badass warrior.
How did all this start, Jason? In Decatur, Illinois.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tim. I wanted to say I'm not a Zest champion, but I fought in the prestigious Zest show in Tokyo twice. So,
I fucked that one up, didn't I?
No, I just didn't want anybody thinking I was a Zest champion, you know. And that's a tough thing. My coach, our coach for many years, Pat Miletich, he trained all the world champions at that time. It's Miletich. It's a very difficult name to pronounce, but yeah, man, thank you. So
if you would have been a Zest champion, what's that entail?
Oh, that would have been nice, but yeah, man, and that entails a lot. You know, a lot of the greatest Japanese fighters fought for that company. You know, so yeah, man, I ended up losing those, but yeah, so you just keep moving on. You know?
So how did you get started in this journey of martial arts? And you know, most kids stumble into it. Mom and dad sign them up, whatever. Why did you get into martial arts?
Yeah, I was always just too small, you know, to play football. I wanted to play football. My parents, they wouldn't put me in. So you know, martial arts was the next thing. And I just, at 9 years old, I just stuck with it, man. It's been my life ever since.
Wow.
And then you professionally started.
How old were you when you did your first professional fight?
My first professional fight, I was 30 years old, 30 or 31. And I had some amateur fights before that.
So you didn't fight professionally till 31 years old?
That's right, or 30, something like that.
Okay. First of all, that's not normal. That's unheard of. And the fact that you're like that talented and that your body could take all this, I mean, like, seriously, like hands down badass. But how do you come, like, because when I was researching, I said to Tim, what happened after 2011? Like, because there was like that 10 years that you were everywhere, 11 years that you were professionally fighting, correct?
Yeah. Honestly, man, my career, to be honest, it's one big blur. You know, it's like I have to ask my wife on the dates, you know, and yeah, there's a reason for that. You know, it was a heck of a ride. And unfortunately, I'm sorry?
What's the reason?
Well, you know, when I broke my neck in that title fight, man, in 2001, it was my 5th pro fight in 2001, and I broke my neck, and that's when my nightmare began, you know, with the pain pills.
So hold on, you break your neck in a title fight, and if I'm right, you won that fight.
I did win that fight. Proud of the fact, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
So what did you ultimately break in your neck?
I herniated 2 discs, and then I cracked the vertebrae. And yeah, so I was told I'd never fight again or lift 20 pounds over my head, man. And I just took about a year and a half off and rehabbed the neck and just kept going, you know.
So that was your 5th professional fight. You still did 16 after that, 15 after that?
Yeah, about 16 or 17 after that. A couple fights aren't on my record, on the official record, but who's counting, man? It's all good.
So we'll get back to that in a minute. What was the most prolific fight that you fought? What was the one that feel like this was the pinnacle of my fighting career? Where was it? 2 or 5? What was it?
Well, I would have to say when I fought George Conger, he was it was in the LFC, Legends of Fighting, in Indianapolis at the 8 Second Saloon. This kid, was he was a recruit to Ohio State, but he messed up and he got his scholarship taken away. And so he decided to do MMA. And that was a time when I was about to mentally break in a fight after the first round, and he was getting me good. And then I had my dear friend Spencer Fisher in the corner and Professor Marcos Barros. And Spencer looked at me and he says, "You're not going to quit. You got to be willing to die in there." And I got back in there, and I'm sure glad I did, because I ended up pulling that victory off.
Wow. I mean, people, 6-8 months ago, I started boxing just to kind of keep fit. Nice. A buddy of ours, Ricky Keelis, he's 4-time world champion. But just to go in a ring with him for a half hour, I'm fucking exhausted. And I'm taking breaks every 2 to 3 minutes. Like, give me my vape, let me chill.
Give me water.
How long is each round in MMA? Is it a minute? Is it 2 minutes?
No, it's 5 minutes.
5-minute rounds.
Yeah, it's a pretty long round. But I'll tell you, back in the day when we were fighting, before it, like a lot of these posters, like, a lot of my stuff, man, it was not even MMA. It was called NHB, No Holds Barred. And that was crazy. Those days were crazy. That was when we were about getting shut down. MMA was not going to be in existence. And that was when the promoters had to tell us where an event was. And then the police would come to the event, try to shut us down. And the promoter would be in another event and then call us. And that's how we made our ways to the fight oftentimes, is to ditch the law enforcement.
Well, I can remember prior to Dana White and all this, they would televise, or maybe it was pay-per-view, it was full contact. You could gouge the eyes, you could kick in the nuts. There was no rules. I mean,
yeah, you couldn't gouge in the eyes. That was one thing that they wouldn't allow, but guys did it. But yeah, you could do the groin kick in the nuts and hit the nut, whatever. Yeah, man. And they had to lighten those rules up, because knees to the head on the ground, that you get a tough wrestler, throwing those knees, man, it's very dangerous on the ground, to take that punishment. So they outlawed knees, which is nice.
So,
they outlawed knees. That's a good thing, Jason.
I've been trying to put myself in the ring, right? Like, as you're talking, telling your whole story right now, and I'm thinking, not only do you have to be extremely strong, right? Like, you have to have extreme physical force, mental force, right? Emotional. What about emotional? Do you need that emotional?
Yeah, man. You need Jen. You need the strength, the emotional support. You just got to have. There's so many things that go into fighting, and just all of that you just mentioned. Absolutely.
And then you say, in 2001, you get in this horrific. I can't believe you're you continue to stay in your sport, and that you're sitting here right now, break your neck, and then you get hooked on pain pills, and you kind of pretty much, did you every time you fought, were you in a blackout, or were you almost in a blackout? You still have to be strong, but you're in a lot of pain now, and then you're taking all this medication in order to be able to get through these fights, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the truth. And, I lost some big fights, no excuses, but man, I keep going back in my mind and thinking, how in the world did I lose those fights with as hard as I've trained and as much as dedicated my life to this? And then honestly, there's no excuse, but, I don't know how I was supposed to win a lot of those big fights all, at that level, jacked up on these pills, do
you mind talking about what were you taking?
Well, Tim, I was going through my notes here the other day, and my gosh, man, after I broke my neck, it's not the doctor's fault. I don't like to place blame on doctors, but, you know, I didn't even know what a Vicodin was after neck surgery, and I was handed 280 or 270 Vicodin, 750 milligrams. I took 2 of those, and, man, I was off to the races. That's all it took. And, yeah, man, and they had me on, you know, obviously you take the Vicodin, and then obviously you need more and more and more, so it stops working. So I go back to the doctors. I'm in so much pain, doc. Things are burning down my arms. So they put me on fentanyl patches and morphine. So I was fighting around the world on fentanyl patches, morphine, Xanax, and Vicodin.
Wow.
Jeez.
You're lucky to be alive. Do you ever overdose?
I don't know, Tim. Honestly, my wife, I think there was maybe some times in my house in Illinois where I'd wake up and be on the floor. So I don't know, man. My wife, yeah, this is a hard one to listen to, but she, you know, I didn't know this, but she would make sure you know, before she left for work, that, you know, I was breathing, man.
Yeah. That's, you know, that's hard to talk about, but that's a reality. How long have you and your wife been together?
27 years.
And what's her name?
Shelly.
So Shelly, kudos to you. Yeah. You're a rock star.
Yeah.
But, you know, Shelly's been by your side this whole journey, and we'll get more into your journey, kind of where you're at now, and actually how I came into your life. It's a crazy story, but kudos to her. But I understand, you know, having to check on you, make sure you're alive, and you understand that, and some of your journeys through life. And
Rita and my dad would do that all the time. Like whenever I'd get in yet another car accident, or I was like, you know, off to the races, they would find me and they'd take me back to my dad's house because my mom was already on, you know, running around the whole city looking for me. And my dad and Rita would then take care of me, and they would tell me afterwards that my dad would just sit there and go like this just to make sure that I was breathing. And I mean, I've done that to people too, so I know that pain, you know.
Yeah, I can remember my little daughter, Abby, who's down here in Florida now, goes to college. She's 20. When she was 8 or 9 years old, she came off the school bus running into the garage, and I'm overdosed on the garage floor. You know,
I mean, it's a painful thing. Like, I'm thinking about this right now. And when Tim and I had COVID, there was like 3 days that I was literally, because he was doing nothing but sleeping, and I would just go like this and see if I could feel his heart, like, you know, and I was so scared. And I didn't understand why it affected me so much until you started talking about your wife and what she did. And that's probably what I was correlating, like the things, the people that I would try to make sure that they were still alive, you know?
So, yeah.
From when they were using or what they were doing to me. And here I am making sure my husband's alive because I just married him and I want to live a happy life, you know? And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So obviously the drugs prescribed by doctors ultimately became part of your downfall too, from professional fighting, because you're on opiates, you're on benzodiazepines. I mean,
2 things I need to ask you. Sorry. 2 things I need to ask you. We do this all the time. So my first question to you is, in the time that you started the medication and then you get hooked on all this, I mean, it's like a Elvis cocktail is what I call it. And in order just to function, because you're in so much pain, right? Your body's in all this pain. So did anyone ever, like, in the MMA inner circle say to you, like, I'm worried, or like, there's a, you know, we have a place that we can help you, or like, did anybody offer assistance? No.
And people knew your situation. Some did.
I was very transparent. In fact, I would carry a satchel over my shoulder. It went everywhere, all over the world with me. And I had my prescriptions in that satchel, and I would just take them out in front of people, man. Man, when it was all happening, I thought everything was cool because it was prescribed by a doctor.
Right.
You know, but then I did have one friend tell me at a fight show, I'll never forget it, in Canada on the Canadian border. I was one of the judges, and I think I'd taken too many, man. He come up to me and said, he was the promoter. He's like, man, you're really messed up. You're really fucked up. And I'm like, damn, I didn't know I was, you know, it was just another day for me. So that's one that guy said something to me, and that really is the only one. Absolutely. That's why I had to help myself, man. Sometimes you have to help yourself because nobody's coming, man.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry, the second thing I wanted to say to you is you said something about, I don't blame the doctors. I do. I do because it happened to me. It's happened to many people that I've lost, that I know. We were just talking about Prince the other day. I worked with Prince, and he got hooked on pills because it's all the hip surgery and this and that, and like there he is dead. And I'm not using. I'm saying this has happened over and over and over again. Like doctors should know better, and they should know what they're giving us, knowing that it could cause addiction. And one of
the things that you were saying is with the fentanyl, the morphine, the Vicodin, the benzos. Did they ever say to your wife, hey, Shelly, here's Narcan. This is the overdose reversal drug because we're giving your husband a cocktail that could kill him. He could definitely overdose on it, and they never educated your family about it. See that?
Not one time. The only time I was given Narcan was the doctor when I moved to Florida 3 years ago, and I got my scripts from a doctor here, and he'd only take cash, no credit card, no debit card. But he gave me a prescription one day, and I was like, what's this? And I saw it said Narcan, and I never got it filled. But that was the first time that somebody, I think they have to now by law.
Yeah, but still, he still didn't educate you about it, anything.
No, he gave me a pamphlet or a one-sheet thing, and I looked it up. I read it,
Wow. When did Suboxone come into your life?
Yeah, man. When I got that DUI in 2008, I was just lost my fight against Joe Lazon, and man, I just couldn't wrap my mind around that, man, about how things went. I just was kept the pills. Of course, you're in pain, obviously, but I know looking back now, I was taking them for emotional pain too. I wanted to just numb out, man. All the media and all the shit talkers, I just wanted to numb out from it all. And that's what I did. And one day I was over at my business partner's house. We were putting the fight card together. It was about 2 in the morning, and I was driving home. And, man, I had my Vicodin in the front seat, my Xanax, my everything in the front seat. And the cop got behind me and pulled me over, and I'd lost a bunch of weight. He had followed my career, and he actually probably saved my life, to be honest. He gave me that DUI. I thanked him later. He, I got that DUI for being on those pills, and that was when he come to my jail cell, and he says, look, man, I don't have to do this, but here's a number you can call, and I think you should really need some help. And so I called that number, and I was in an outpatient rehab on Monday. That was in 2008, and that's when I was introduced to Suboxone.
And for people that are listening that don't know what Suboxone is, it's basically an opiate angst for people that are addicted to prescription opiates, street drug opiates, heroin, fentanyl, whatever. It takes away the cravings to use the opiates, but it's also an opiate angst, so it has opiates in it, and it's also highly addictive. But they've termed it MAT, medicated assisted treatment. So Jason and I were talking earlier about this. Now, I'll get to that in a minute. Jason, at the peak of your Suboxone use, how much Suboxone were you taking a day?
Oh, not at the peak. From the very beginning, they put me on 34 milligrams a day.
From the beginning?
34 milligrams. So I have no clinical background or whatever, but whoever did that should be in prison. That's criminal. And I can only use my own analogy. At the peak of my addiction, I'm doing 5 grams of heroin a day. When I would use Suboxone, I never used more than 6 milligrams a day, ever. And it took my sick off, and I was fine. But for someone, I've never heard of anyone being on 34 milligrams. Never.
I can't even fathom that.
No, when they read my chart at rehab, they couldn't believe it. When they got my medical records, and I said, "Yeah, man, I thought I was Hey, man, listen. Maybe I do blame I blame a couple doctors, and they're from Decatur, Illinois. And man, I'll tell you what, I was the I was very Suboxone patient in Decatur, Illinois, when they were round orange pills, you know.
2002?
What's that?
Around 2002?
No, it was 2008. Tim.
Okay.
Yeah, so Suboxone really wasn't around in Decatur at that time, and there was one place that got in the Suboxone program, and I was their first Suboxone patient.
Wow.
And then I just kept staying on it. But here's what's crazy, and this is one thing I do blame the doctor for. I got off of the other stuff, but they kept me on 5 milligrams of Xanax a day.
Unbelievable. It's criminal, you know. And how often?
And Tim, I'm sorry. I found out later from, you know, but by this time I'm way addicted, man. So I wasn't getting off of it, man. And but I found out later, and like a year later, and I kept staying on it. People told me, other doctors I knew, they said, Jason, you should not be on Xanax and a benzo at the same time. Have you heard about that?
Well, Xanax is benzodiazepine.
I'm sorry.
Be that in Suboxone.
Yeah,
right.
Benzos and Suboxone. My fault. Yeah, you shouldn't be on that. I don't know. That's what they say.
No, I agree. You shouldn't. And that's like people, if they don't take Suboxone, they take methadone. You get up to about 75 milligrams of methadone and start popping Xanax, it's a better high than shooting heroin.
Wow.
Yeah.
So crazy.
You were going to say something.
It's just, yeah, there's a couple things I was going to say, but one of the things that just keeps striking me, and like I'm going to go back to this, is that there's something so profound. You said earlier, and I can't quote the exact line, but everyone knew and no one did anything. And like, yet these doctors are giving you medication and you're completely addicted at this point. And like, no one really gives a crap about someone who's successful in whatever it is that they're doing. And if they need just to get by, we need him to be on drugs, like, because he's going to be able to perform really great. And because he's a great he's a great fighter, and he's going to make us money. And we're going to just keep feeding this until it no longer serves us. And like, that feels like it's the story. This is what I said earlier when I started the show, was I feel like I can relate to you on so many levels. Like, no one gave a shit about you as a human being, as a spirit, you know, and like what you needed. And obviously you mentioned a little bit about emotional pain that you were going through, and that you had physical pain, and, you know, all this stuff is going on, and like, no one cares about, as long as you're performing well, then you're
doing your job.
You know, and that was how modeling was for me. Acting was for me.
That's how I was.
But that's how society still is.
I'm at the peak of my game in the management consulting firm business. I'm young. I'm making a ton of money. And I make a complete fool at the holiday party. I'm doing coke. And after that, when I come back from New Year's, they say, Tim, you can't drink at the Christmas parties anymore or any company party. Great. I just won't go to them. Instead of saying, Tim, we know you have a problem. You got two choices. Tender your resignation or go get help. Nobody did that. They didn't do it to you. They didn't do it to you.
And you have these doctors that are getting kickbacks because they're giving you the medication that they're getting kickbacks from, and they're not even explaining to you that you might get addicted, or you might get, and this is happening every single day, all day long. And I am so glad that you're sitting here right now, able to talk with us about this, because I think it's really extremely important for people to realize this disease doesn't care, and it can. So
let me get back into something with Jason here. Jason, how long, when you started the outpatient, did you medicated assisted therapy or medicated assisted treatment? How long did you get the therapy or treatment part?
I was a Suboxone patient from 2008 to 2014. So
okay, did you constantly get therapy every week or do outpatient?
I had to remain on the Suboxone program. So, Tim, what's crazy is, this is nuts. I had to pay, which, hey, it is what it is. But the reality is, with the meetings and the Suboxone was very expensive back then, too. And I think it's come down maybe, but I was paying $850 a month to this organization. And they were, I had to be in the program. And man, in 2014, I came to them and I said, look, I ran out of money. I said, I have no more money. I brought my wife in there. in fact. And I said, look, what can we do? How do I get off this stuff? I have no more money. I want off Suboxone. How do I get it? I'll never forget it. The guy said, he was the counselor there that ran the show, and then he would send you over the next way to get Suboxone. You know, there's like 35 people in this outpatient meeting, and then the doctor was across the hall, and he would just call them, and then, like, it was like cattle, man. 75
burn them.
What?
Turn them and burn them. Turn them and burn them.
Man, $75 a pop to walk over to the doctor, this doctor, who, by the way, was on Suboxone himself, and who, by the way, went to 3 rehabs and couldn't get off of it, but he was still prescribing it, boy. And that's another thing.
Wow. So,
yeah.
I mean, basically, what a lot of these programs do, and there's a nationwide program, I love to put them on blast, but they keep you there to keep you hooked to the Suboxone, and they never plan on getting you off of it. Never. The way, in my professional view and opinion, if you're working with a psychiatrist or an addictionologist, a therapist, in some kind of recovery program, and have a 6-month, 18-month, to 24-month window or plan to get off, you got a ticket for success. Now, are there that 5% that might need to be on it the rest of their life? Yes, but they're far and few between. But these places, they're never plan on getting you off of it. Never.
Well, in fact, Tim, I've got the letter right here. I took my wife in there and talked to the head guy, and he says to me, exact words, he says, hey, man, this is a profit center. He says, I can't help you. And so I was like, oh, my God. I said, how am I ever going to get off this? Nobody would tell me, man. So he sent me a letter in the mail, and it sent me to a website to figure it out myself.
What?
I swear to you.
So
I would love to put them on blast sometime, man, because what they're doing to people
hey, if you want to, put the son of a bitches on blast right now. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Hey, it was A&E Behavioral Health in Decatur, Illinois. In my opinion, I believe they've got one of the biggest scams going. I watched it. I was a part of it for many years. And then when I couldn't afford it anymore, they kicked me out of the program and then sent me on my own with I'm so sick. I have no Suboxone. I'm sicker than a dog. And I told my wife, I said, look, I'm still on the Xanax. I'm going to go to the basement and just fight this out. So I stayed in that basement in Illinois, our basement, for 41 days and nighs, and beat that Suboxone. But I was all proud of myself for beating it. But then after I went to rehab in November of the last year, I'm thinking, man, I really didn't beat the Suboxone back then because I had the Xanax to help me, yeah. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, it was brutal. Don't get me wrong. It was absolutely brutal.
I can't believe you were kicking in the basement by yourself for 41 days.
Absolutely. I was kicking, throwing up, the whole 9 yards, man. And it was unbelievable. I made 2 trips to the emergency room. And, of course, they don't know anything. It was it is frustrating when I start thinking about all this stuff because, boy, I got caught in the system, to be honest with you. I got caught up in the system, and I didn't know how to get out of it.
See, and that's the thing is that, thankfully you are out of it, but like a lot of people
yes.
never get out of it. A lot of people didn't get out of it, and a lot of people died because they couldn't get out of it. And you're here to tell the story that they can't tell. So I want to thank you for being brave and saying where that was that happened to you. Because we stand behind you and we will always support you and we will have your back. You have nothing to fear, because you just said something that people need to be aware of. And the fact that you had to do this all alone and figure it out.
For a fucking doctor to say we're a for-profit business, figure it out on your own after you've given him tens of thousands of dollars over the years, that's a majority of the treatment industry today. And I understand you're paying a kicking because I kicked my alcohol and heroin habit in a prison cell by myself, and I shit and puked and didn't sleep for over a month. Believe me, I understand that. And I'll never forget that pain. but you were still on the Xanax, and you ultimately went to treatment last November. Well, you don't have to mention the name of the program or anything, but what was it? What entailed you to put your hand up and say, I'm going to South Florida and going to treatment?
Well, I mean, you know, God bless my wife. She's my rock, man. I mean, there's no way I would be here without her right now. I guarantee you. And, you know, it's awful crazy because sometimes I think being a fighter is kind of a downfall sometimes because people have this perception sometimes that like we're superhuman or we're strong and we can do this on our own. But, you know, man, I was in my garage one night in last November and, you know, at the end of December, and I'm like in the garage, I'm thinking, man, these pills are going to take me out. They're going to kill me. And I told my wife, I said, I got to find a treatment center. And she thought I was doing better in Florida. She thought I was doing better. She's like, are you sure you're doing so much better than you were in Illinois? But I lied to her. I never lied to her, man. I always was transparent, told 100% of what's going on. But this part, I did lie to her. I didn't tell her about the doctor here in Florida put me back on the Vicodin on top of everything else.
Oh my God.
So I knew I needed to go, and I knew that I needed to help myself, honestly. I was like, shit, man, nobody's coming. I was reaching out to a few people, man. I was seeking out, but I think sometimes some people think fighters are like superhuman or something, but I don't know, maybe not, but I helped myself. And I got into that rehab. My wife drove me 2.5 hours, and I'm very, very grateful for that. I believe they saved my life, to be honest.
Well, you actually saved your own life.
Yeah.
You put forth the effort. They gave you some guidance and direction and some tools, and that's how it happens, man. I mean, it's
interesting that you talk about fighters and being superheroes because I have Mike Tyson before has shared and said to me and a bunch of other people, you know, I felt like I was just a shadow. But like at the top of his game, right? Like it really hit me. And even like Dennis Rodman, I remember him telling me things on Sober House. Like, you know, he's like, you know, I created Dennis Rodman. Like this is all, like I created this. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, like everyone thinks you're just a badass. Everyone thinks Mike Tyson's the badass. Everyone knows you're a badass. But like underneath it all, like you're so fragile and you're human. You know, you're human and you have the same needs that all of us
have. Happy, sad, sad.
Same emotions,
you know?
Different stories. But like here you are proving to everyone and doing all this stuff and like stronger than all hell and like stuck in a disease that's killing you, you know, and no one, thank God, except for your angel, your wife, is there by your side during all this. I mean, for you, and I keep saying, and I don't know if you keep hearing me going, I'm so mad right now. Like I'm getting so angry because I take such like protection over people like that are my brothers and sisters in recovery and that I've had to go through such a hard time to get taken advantage of like you did on that level. I take it so personal and I feel so protective over you or everyone else that gets stuck in this crazy fucking cycle. And excuse my language, babe. He says I say a lot of bad words, but I do. But when I'm really upset, it's like, I just cannot believe that in this day and age, we're still going through this.
Absolutely, we are. All day long. So anyhow, you ended up reaching out to me out of treatment. Why?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, Tim, one thing I wanted to say, the doctor in the doctor at A&E, he's not the one that told me it was a profit center. It was the head counselor guy that you have to go through to get everything approved, that Kevin guy.
Kevin's a piece of shit.
In my eyes, he is too. I really believe he is. Absolutely, I do. And it's nothing but a trickery there, man. And I tell you what, people, if they knew what they were getting themselves into with this Suboxone, I don't know if they'd go down that road. But anyway.
That's a bold statement.
Well, I mean, you can drive here in South Florida. There's signs on telephone poles, Suboxone in immediate Suboxone access. Please call. It's everywhere.
Yeah, I couldn't believe when I saw that in Florida. That was unbelievable. But yeah, Tim, about how I met you, which is amazing. I was in rehab, you know, and I didn't know what it was going to be like. So I did the detox, and I was pretty good at detox, man. They had 12 days, you know, coming off many years of Xanax and all that stuff, especially the Xanax, it hangs on, man. And so when they moved me to the apartments, I thought I was cool. I mean, I really did. I didn't feel that sick. I felt sick, but not bad, you know. And then, boy, I'll tell you what, I started kicking and sweating and doing the whole 9 yards, and it wouldn't stop when I got to those apartments. I didn't sleep for 5 days, and that's when I learned about post-acute withdrawal.
Oh, God.
You got it.
Oh my gosh! That tell you what, man. Yeah. So that, and then Tim, I was introduced to. I was given your book, From Dope to Hope, and I've never read a book in my life. I'm that's the truth. And I read that book from front to back twice. And man, it's amazing that I'm here with you guys now. I mean, that I reached out to you when I got out of rehab, Tim, and I'm very grateful. That book really, really helped me through some major dark moments. I almost broke mentally and did the Suboxone. I mean, I was this close, and I had a prostitute on one side of me and a detox nurse on the other. They were clients, and they were going through rehab, and they kept my days. They kept my track of my days. They said, "Don't do it. Don't do the Suboxone. You got 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. You got 5 more days. I had 5 days, Jason. You got 2 more days, and you're going to turn the corner." And then, man, they were right on the money, man. 3 weeks and 2 days is when I started feeling better. And Tim, I carried your book around everywhere, and I was promoting the heck out of it, telling a lot of guys to read it, and they did too.
That's awesome. That is, you know, and that's the reason why I wrote the book. Whether people, I get messages from people in county jails or state-funded or for-profit treatment centers or whatever. That's why I did it. You're the reason that I wrote that book. And then you send me, I think you messaged me, I'm trying to see right now, if you messaged me on Facebook or whatever.
I did. I was very awesome that you got back to me. And I want to tell you, Tim, I kept saying, you know, when I was going through my stuff, I mean, I was out of my mind. I told everybody at rehab I was Charlie Sheen's cousin. And I said, I'm a warlock and I got tiger blood in me. Stay the fuck away from me. I apologized to everybody when I got better. And they were like, "You're fine. You were fine." I'm like, I didn't feel fine.
That's hilarious.
Look, I kept telling my mind, man, I was like amazed at what all you went through. And I'm like, I haven't gone through shit compared to Tim Ryan. I'm like, if Tim Ryan can get off the dope, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this without the Suboxone. So it really gave me that mental drive to keep going, man. Your book did. I really thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Dude, that's absolutely fucking awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
So what has the sobriety been like for you now?
Since November.
Yeah, it's been amazing, man. And the first time, I'll tell you real quick, you guys, I did not understand. I couldn't, once I started getting sober in that place, every day was getting better after the 3 weeks, man, I couldn't see. And I was like, why can't I see? So the nice people at rehab, they took me to an eye doctor. And I mean, I got contacts, you guys, and it was like a blind person that I was driving like this. That's why I'm so mad at myself. I was so focused on those pills that I didn't even realize that I was blind and I needed contacts.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I can remember the first time putting on my glasses, freshman year of high school, and my mom pulling out of there, and I said, "Oh my God, everything is so crisp." Yeah. I didn't realize grass was that green and how vibrant colors were.
No.
You walked around like
it's
that.
A simple thing.
So wild. So wild.
And then you combine that, getting my contacts, also with a sober mind, and everything is just enhanced. You know, I saw the moon and the stars and the trees for the first time in 19 years, man.
That's badass. That's awesome.
Really powerful. That's so
I mean, at rehab, I was so excited. I told my wife, I wrote her a letter, and I told her, I said, when I see you, I'm gonna kiss you for the first time in 19 years.
Man, unreal. How are you and your wife doing now?
Oh, we're great, man. We have a blast. We just are chilling here, and we go fishing on the weekends, and just enjoying the Florida lifestyle, you know.
Wow, that's amazing. So after fighting, what's your next like dream? What do you want to do with all this?
Well, I really believe with everything I have that my bare knuckle MMA can take off. You know, they're doing a lot of bare knuckle fighting in the industry, and you know, just stand up boxing. You know, and I was thinking, you know, let's bring it back to the old pancration days. Why not have the competitor be able to wear their gi, their uniform, their jiu-jitsu gi, their uniform, wrestling trunks, fight shorts, no shoes, no gloves, tape 3 times around the wrist, and the fight, anything standing, elbows, knees, but no gloves. And I'll get to that in a minute. But when the fight hits the ground, there's no punches, only open palm strikes, no elbows on the ground, no knees on the ground, only open palm strikes, any submissions, you know, the regular submissions. And then if, you know, once the fight starts, stand up, you know, once they get to the feet, it's all out. But I believe that the gloves, and I've been hit by both, with gloves and without gloves, and I would definitely prefer to get hit without a glove, because the punch does not spread and rattle the brain so much. You know, that glove, you think about it, that glove, you've got basically concrete under your hands, wrapped, like professionally wrapped. So your fist is just in there. And that glove, and man, I tell you what, without the glove, you can't hit as hard. Number one, you'll break your hand. Without the glove, yes, you have cuts, but they're more superficial than anything. I truly believe without the glove is the future, and I'm excited to start bare knuckle MMA.
So amazing. How can people find you or follow you, or if they're interested in bare knuckle MMA, what do they do?
Yeah, I'm real easy to find, man. Just hit me on Facebook, you know, hit me up on Facebook, Jason Reinhardt, and that's it. You know, that I just use Facebook. I've got an Instagram account, but I don't know. I need to start using that, I think.
Yeah, I think you do. The times are changing.
Yeah.
What's the name on your Instagram account?
Oh, it's warrior_within.
Warrior within.
Underscore.
Yeah.
Warrior_within.
So I love that Tim's telling you about social media and what you should be doing on Instagram, when I was saying the same thing to him.
She told me everything.
Yeah, I'm like, hold up. I love you. I love you so much for doing that. I think that your platform is very important. And I think what you're doing is extremely important, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that will relate and feel you on a level that a lot of us can't get through to that people. I also think that you'll be able to help a lot of athletes as well that are stuck in this cycle. I mean, like, I have the chills, and I'm getting
getting teared up.
Yeah, I'm getting teary-eyed. So it's the spirit talking through me. It's me telling you this. I know you don't know me that well at all, but like when I feel like this and this is happening, it's me telling you just a message that I think you're going to be able to move mountains for a lot of people that have been so silenced. So I want to thank you for being so honest. And I want you to come back and talk about your journey, because it's so important. Like I said last year during COVID, I said, you know what? My hat's off to anyone that tried to get sober last year, even if they had one day. Like, the fact that people got sober and actually stayed sober last year is a miracle. It is beautiful. Like, what a year to get sober, right? Like, and you made it, and like you're overcoming things, and your life is unfolding, and so many beautiful things are about to happen for you. And I just want you to come back and be a voice for all those that can't have their voices be heard.
I want to ask you though, you and your wife flew out, Jason, to watch the premiere of After the Cage, and you didn't know because they filmed you in addiction. This is a
documentary.
Yeah, they filmed you in rehab. what was your take on After the Cage?
I think that Luca, the film producer, did an outstanding job. And, you know, it was, I didn't realize I said some of the things I did, you know, in my addiction, you know, when he was filming. Yeah, just crazy, man. But it is what it is. You know, I tell you what, you know, with all the superstars like Matt Hughes and Pat Miletich and Dan Severn and Jay Fish, man, it's gonna, that film is incredible. I believe it can go big places because it's a very unique film. People in the industry are gonna love to see that, and anybody is actually. But yeah, man, I just wanted to speak up and be transparent. You know what, Tim? It was funny, bro, Jen. It was crazy because when I did all my fight shows, the whole time I fought, I also promoted shows. So I promoted like 50-some shows in a 15-year span. And it's very stressful promoting shows, you know, and I look back and I can't believe I did all that stuff on all those pills. And I always got accused of being a cokehead. And so now I get to say, no, you fuckers were all wrong. I was a pillhead.
I love it. I love it.
So,
well, Jason, we want to thank you so much for coming on the Tim and Jen show.
Thank you.
Sharing about your journey, your trials and tribulations. And yes, you're definitely going to move mountains. You know, you're only, you got me on speed dial.
Thank you.
I want to also thank Lux Media.
Yes.
And if people are struggling out there, you can go to our website, dopetohope.com, or you can reach out to us directly at 844-611-HOPE, 844-611-4673. It rings to my personal cell phone. It is not a call center. Jennifer and I are glad to guide and direct.
I also want to thank everyone who listens and watches us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. We love you. We honor you. We appreciate you. And I wish everyone a really great week.
Jason, thank you again. We love you, brother. Tim and Jen show. Go ahead.
Can I say one thing? I want to tell
everybody. Whatever you want.
Yeah, anybody that's listening, here's something that helped me, man. You know, here's the thing, man. I saw these guys in my industry addicted to pills, but you're taught not to surrender. You're taught not to speak up. It shows weakness. That's all bullshit. So I said, man, I'm going to take a couple punches on the chin. I don't mind. So anybody wants to judge me, that's cool, you know. But here's the thing. I want to say what helped me. In rehab, a counselor, a very great counselor, said to me, his name is Keith, in fact. He said, you know, every single person on this universe, every single person, you are somebody, you are someone's whole, you are someone's whole world. You're someone's universe, you know, and that's when at least one person. And I thought about that. I'm like, man, you know, my daughter's everything, you know. So you're very loved by somebody, you know, out there, you know. And some people might not have anybody, but they might have a dog. Well, that dog, you're the whole universe. That dog is you're that whole dog's universe. You know what I mean?
I have the dog. Come on, Peter. We have the dog, and then we also have our Peter. Hi, Peter. Say hi to Jason.
Hey,
so Peter took up the sport of skydiving. He now has over 170 skydives, and this Thursday he's flying to Egypt to jump into the pyramids.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
He's
awesome.
like world champion skydivers.
So why don't you want to get high, jump out of a perfectly good airplane. Best legal high in the world.
Do not say that.
It is the best legal high in the world.
No,
what are you talking about?
I would pass out if I did that.
No, absolutely.
Hey, Tim, I bet he knows where DeLand, Florida is.
Sure.
Just there last weekend.
He was there last weekend.
Wow, that's right by me. That's a trip, huh?
Well, you'll have to come down. We'll have to hook up. He'll go jump with you next weekend. Jason, we want to thank you for coming on the Tim and Jen show.
We love you.
Thank you,
love
everybody.
you guys. Have
a great day, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
We're out of
I
here.
messed that last one up.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
We want to talk to you about Clean Cause, better caffeine. What's in the can? Our organic, sparkling Herba Mate is a premium pick-me-up that won't let you down. Every can of Clean Cause contains 160 milligrams of better caffeine, and each sip supports recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. 50% of the profits go to assist people into sober living. Check out cleancause.com.
Hope. At Rosecrans, it's more than a wish. Hope has power. As the proven behavioral health leader in the Midwest, no other program offers our depth of experience and hope here at Rosecrans. And when someone you love struggles with substance abuse and mental illness, hope plays an important part in recovery. Life's got bigger plans for you. We should know. We're the most trusted name in treatment and the best choice for those who dare to hope. Visit us at rosecrans.org. Life's waiting.
Seaside Palm Beach is an executive luxury addiction treatment center located in Palm Beach, Florida. Our private clients come from all over the world, including business executives, professional athletes, celebrities, and more. Seaside Palm Beach offers first-class amenities and high-end accommodations, including a gourmet culinary experience, ocean views, pet-friendly facilities, and access to cell phones and laptops during your stay. If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, please call us at 877-959-5053. Again, that number is 877-959-5053.
Now, glutathione is a big word, but it's the body's own master antioxidant. So it's a scavenger for free radicals, for bacteria, and what's relevant now, viruses. This is new to the marketplace. There's no other product on the market that has the ingredient NACET.
And basically NACET increases the production of that glutathione that is in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system and keep it strong. Elevated sense of well-being. Supports muscle strength and endurance. Cognitive function. Powerful liver support. Energy, helps blood sugar regulation, superior bioavailability of key ingredients.
One of your best defenses against COVID is a strong immune system. Taking GSH Plus as a daily supplement does all that. And now we have the product out on the marketplace.